everybody. Welcome to Ed Feels Live. Rogan Smith here in your company. Ed's away, thank God. He'll be back on Monday, but I've got another co-host in, yeah. It's the only time you get to hear my voice is when he's gone. Tashina Robinson Blair. Yeah, I know. I hope he ain't listening. In the studio with Tashina Robinson Blair. You guys know her, and Kendrick Williams. Sheena, what's going on?
Nothing much. Glad to be here.
Mm-hmm. Come closer to the mic, Kendrick is saying.
Kendrick, see? If you had given me the muff.
That's the oldest. You got to turn up, Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
Where you been? You went away, right?
Yeah,
Where
Orlando.
Who all you and your
With
family?
the kiddies. Mm-hmm.
You drove?
Mm-mm.
Who did the drive?
Family.
Oh. I remember them days when you had to carry people with you to drive. Oh, my
Mm-hmm.
mommy was famous for asking our cousin to come and drive us around, right? But the problem with that is...
You have to buy them food.
Oh, hold on now. And I have a cousin. I ain't gonna call her name because she listened to the show, right? She used to say, well, you got to buy my airline ticket. Well, I understand that because you come in to drive us, you pay for the airline ticket. But, you got to pay for the hotel. Well, yeah, okay, no problem. You got to buy the car. Okay, sure, no problem. You can put a little something in my hand, eh? I didn't put the ticket. You got a hotel, and you have a car, and you ain't putting gas in the car because we're going to put the gas in the car because the first thing you can throw in our face is you ain't have to come. And I must put a little something in your hand? Oh, no, boo-boo. Yeah,
the funniest part is you the same way.
No, no, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Before I even went away to school, that was one of the first things I learned was how to drive in the States, just when I was going visiting like friends.
In the same way as if someone wanted you to come to be the driver, they would have to do all the same things for you.
I would split the hotel with them. I'd say you have to buy my ticket, especially if I wasn't going. But if it's a trip what I could benefit from, I probably would pay for my own airfare. Depends on who it is.
Okay, Kendrick, write this down. I can make this
but
sucker go with me.
It depends on who it is. I
and
would
the
pay
baby.
For my who?
And
Your baby?
Sierra. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I pay for my. How much times have I said we need to go do like a girls trip or something like that? But if you're talking about going to the doctor or you going somewhere you can't drive over there, of course I would do it I'd pay. Now I'd say you got to split the hotel with me, but I ain't gonna say, oh, you got to pay for this, that, and the next, and put something in my hand. In Mohan? Speaking of which, I just had a little dream last night. Hold on. Why did Maria... You remember Maria's Furniture?
No.
You don't know Bahamian. Kendrick, you remember...
You know Maria's Furniture?
Henry. Tell him your boy Henry sent you. You remember Henry?
No.
Oh, my God. Henry used to do like the worst Bahamian accent ever. And I can't remember if they were on Flagler or Opalaka. I don't know where he was. But back in the 80s, early 90s, I want to say... Henry is this white guy, American, who used to come on and say, tell all my Bahamian friends, come down to Maria Furniture. Tell them your boy Henry sent ya. I bet you Bahamians, who's watched ZNS, know but Maria's Furniture.
It sounded familiar because you saying Flagler.
Your boy
Flagler.
Henry, and I can see him with those questionable arm gestures when he used to do it too. I always wondered how that would work. Like if you just go up in Maria's Furniture talking about, yeah, I come from one little city. My boy Henry sent me. like you get a discount or something on that. But I don't know. That was my little dream. I don't even know how that even came up because I didn't see anything last night on TV.
Craziest dream ever.
But let me tell you, and I swear to you, this is not a joke. So you have like two-part dreams. Like one dream leads into the next.
Mm-hmm.
So my second dream, the second part of the dream was about Mr. Ingram, Hubert Ingram, that I saw him on a stage. He's a prophetess. I saw him on the stage, but he was wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and short pants would hit the ankle.
So he was still retired.
I don't know what this means. And the socks were pulled up to here. So socks pulled up to here and the floral Hawaiian shirt and the pants would stop right here. So I know what that means. I need somebody to call me and tell me do some interpretation.
Short pants, high socks, retired shirt on a stage.
On a stage. What that is? Like
I don't know.
You come up short on a stage or what? But that was my two-part dream. So I need somebody who proficient in the oldism and whatnot to give me a little call and tell me what's going on. But anyway, where are our sponsors? Let's pay some respect to our sponsors. You're going to read these ones.
Okay, so our sponsors today...
Oh, my God. We don't say our sponsors today.
Tell me how to do it.
Because they don't change, boo-boo.
Okay. So, Arawak Homes, Roman meal bread. It's made fresh every day. And guess what? It's available everywhere. Sunshine Insurance. Life is priceless. Insurance affordable. Sunshine Insurance. Local knowledge. Global reach. Woodlawn Gardens. Because you care, we care forever. Alternative Dispute Resolution Bahamas. They help settle disputes and offer a wider range of solutions than those offered by litigation. Bristol Wines and Spirits, Wendy's, Coca-Cola, because things go better with Coke. Superwash. They washes you, presses you, feeds you, entertains you 24/7. I know, Cookie. We have 10 convenient. We have 10 convenient locations and over 1,300 washers and dryers. Also being brought to you by Bahama Grill. Bahama Grill, home of the world-famous conch burger and conch balls. Their unique version of the conch fritter, only found at Bahama Grill, tastes the islands. Heineken. Try the new Heineken 16-ounce can, 2 for $5.50 at any 700 Wines and Spirits today. Island Luck, KFC, Insurance Management, Subway, National Fence and Scottsdale Bedding. They changed.
Scottsdale Bedding, yeah.
They changed. I thought they had a tagline.
Yeah, I don't think we have it there. They're upgrading their tagline. A lot of those are changing their taglines. So yeah.
Summer Palaces.
Sophisticated, babe.
Oh.
Summer Palace.
Summer Palace Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. That's a new one since I was last here.
We went there last week.
And Summer Palace is having happy hour this Friday with dim sum sushi. Dim sum. Sushi. Bahamian snacks, domestic beers, house wines, margaritas, mojitos. Ooh, mojitos.
You like that, eh?
Mojitos from 5:30 p.m. to midnight. And Rev Bahamas, our final sponsor.
We went to Summer Palace. I took 2 of my coworkers. This was last week Friday, and then Ed came through like 30 minutes later or whatnot. They had this, I forgot the name of it. It's like it's like a pastry. It's like this round, very smooth, doughy looking thing, and I think it has like a red bean paste on the inside. You would think like red bean paste and dough, like how that tastes, but it reminded me of like a coconut tart almost. Oh yeah, it was really good. Yeah, so that's some really good food. You got to try it. Some good noodles. So, and I'm not just saying that. Honest to God, I took like take out that was really good. After.
And you're the most finickiest eater in the world.
Most finickiest.
I can say that. That's most finicky even.
That's how finicky I am.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
To the extreme.
So now on to some very important things. In a few days, we'll be marking
August 29th.
You will be marking my birthday.
Your 40th. That's the crucial birthday.
My 40th minus 3. What are you buying me? And I gave you suggestions.
I've already said I'm buying you the same thing you bought me. Kendrick, she says in the Big T that no one loves free food more than her bestie, Tashina. Now she comes on Facebook and says, you offered to take me out for my birthday, but I said no. I'm going to turn down free food.
Tashina?
And on my birthday, I would have been pregnant, right?
No, you give birth in November, boo. You see, you're lying about that and all. You don't even know when you give birth to your baby.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, okay, well, so I should have been due.
Your credibility is shot.
I should have been due for an outing, so I would have jumped on that.
Your credibility is shot. Every February 27th, your whack birthday rolls around. I always offer you.
February 27th is like the best birthday month ever.
I only remember that because of the referendum back in the day. But I always offer to take you out to lunch, and you turn it down.
Remember when they interviewed her in the Big T about your favorite Saturday stuff, and then she's like, "Oh, my friend Tashina, no, I'm not treating you."
Yeah.
So she had to tell everybody I like to be treated.
Yeah, that's right. But that's just on normal occasions. But on birthdays, it was a special, so I would do it. But I'm gonna say something to you that my chairman, Sir Franklin Wilson, says often. He says, "I'd like to invite you to reconsider." That is a dignified way of saying, "What you say? You want your job?" So I'm going to invite you to reconsider. Isn't that a dignified way to learn certain things from people? I love that. I'm going to invite you to reconsider about not buying me a gift. I ain't gonna be here, so you got a couple of days to get that sorted out.
Let me marinate on that.
You better marinate quick because I need an answer. But on to some news here. Obviously, we are every single paper for how many days now since Tuesday, because Monday was the big reveal about Baha Mar, the fact that they're going to be remobilizing construction in September. I don't know if it's the beginning part of September or the latter part, but needless to say, it's going to be in the month of September. I'm going to say something that's very unpopular here because, you know me, I always say I'm a news junkie, I'm a talk show junkie, and I listen to what other people have to say, but I've heard a lot of negativity surrounding this, right? I understand that people want details, okay? But I feel like the purveyors of doom and gloom are just making, I don't want to say much ado about nothing, but they're not being as patient as I think that they should be, okay? The Prime Minister just made the announcement on Monday. He says the details will be forthcoming, but temporarily they've been, what do you call it? They sealed the details of the deal because they don't want to sabotage anything. I even think Wayne Monroe, who's one of the attorneys involved, says, the secrecy will stop the sabotage. Today he's quoted in the Tribune saying, with access to relevant documents, someone could make threats against any other party or seek to make a bid at a lower price. So I certainly understand why they would want to seal the deal for the moment. Now, if this is a continuing thing where the details of this deal are never revealed or aren't revealed in a number of months, yes, I can certainly understand the uproar. But I think it's this political season where people are just looking for something negative to say.
I disagree on this.
Absolutely. You can totally disagree. But I think Mr. Christie and his cabinet probably thought that the reaction would have been more positive, that people would have been very happy to hear something about this deal, and they didn't anticipate.
What does that tell you?
And that
people... they just don't want to hear something that, okay, we got the ball rolling.
Oh, but if you're a worker of Baha Mar or you're somebody who's owed millions of dollars, that is what you want to hear.
Listen, because even the Contractors Association they're saying, oh, let's wait and see. We can't rejoice just yet.
That's fine. That is absolutely fine. You can wait and see. But I don't think you should come out the gate being so negative about the whole about the whole process. That's the issue that I take. Every single day since Monday night, I should say, people have been saying, oh, they're only doing this for the election and da-da-da-da. We haven't heard the details and they sell our birthright.
But understandably, people are skeptical and people want to know, did you give away the farm to get the ball rolling on this project? That's just understandable.
Let me tell you something. There's a provision in Kerzner's Head of Agreements where they're the most favored nation clause. The Christie administration can't give Baha Mar more than it's given Atlantis. They'd have to give Atlantis the cow, the home, the farm, every single thing as well. I think they have that in mind as well.
Atlantis had their financing and everything else in place.
I'm talking about my point is you cannot give Baha Mar more than what you've given Atlantis. That is my point.
So then we give and give and give?
There's nothing more to give? I don't think they're going to put themselves in the position where they have to give Baha Mar and then have to give Atlantis so much more.
In this particular instance, we are bargaining from a position of weakness. So I fully expect us to have given away a lot. I expect a hue and a cry. That's what I'm expecting. Else it wouldn't have been the whole cloak and dagger. It wouldn't have been the secrecy shrouding the whole deal.
There's secrecy because they don't want it to be sabotaged. I wouldn't, if I'm a developer.
Why come out and talk about it?
Because you know what? Every single day, some reporter puts their... You know what? I wish that they had waited, right? Hold on.
We had this whole dispute. Mr. Christie been in politics. How old are we?
I'm 24.
Okay. I'm 38.
Allegedly.
He's been in politics longer than we've been alive. And so he knows what the deal is. If he does not want to say anything, he does not have to say anything. So don't preempt the deal and say and allude to it or talk about it or do anything. If you only want to you only want to divulge a certain amount of information, then don't talk about it at all because you know the people hungry for details. People are detail oriented. They've seen too many things now, man.
Listen,
they're jaded.
If I were in the position, and I can't say if I were in the position because you never know what you would do or say in the position. Maybe they felt that some of the information was going to come out and they wanted to get a jump on it and say some of the details, okay? I think if I'm somebody who's worked at Baha Mar and I've been out of a job and I haven't had any money, or if I'm somebody who's invested in Baha Mar and I want my money, me hearing that I'm getting my money is paramount. Okay, then I'm going to get some details later. But me hearing that I'm getting my money, we haven't heard a timeline as to when that's going to happen, right?
So why? And you want to hear you're going to get your money? We like the helicopter who swooped down. When people say they have checks for us, we sweep down.
You better believe it. You know what?
We like more. We like teleport ourselves to where the check is, and you want to hear that they have money for you, but you don't know when you're gonna get it.
Yeah, but I wasn't hearing that you had money for me. Period. And
write it off and move on.
You speak from a position as somebody who's sitting on a job and you have money in the bank. For somebody who ain't sitting on a job and don't have money in the bank, that's exactly what I want to hear.
But again, they've been getting teased for how long now to say, it coming.
No. Nobody has said definitively. They've said we're optimistic.
I'm working on the deal. I have good news for you.
That is correct. They've said that we're optimistic that they were going to have a buyer. Okay, that's what they've expressed, optimism. But nobody ever said definitively that you're going to get your money. So that's
I think people are very justified in wanting to know details. Details and more details. So I want to know the details.
Well, there is a lot of distrust of the Christie administration, and I get it. I get it.
That's what this says.
But all I'm saying is, I would prefer to hear. You don't have to be. You could be nonchalant about this. You don't have to be optimistic if you don't want to. You could take a wait and see approach. But I don't like to hear the negativity clouding the whole conversation. Okay, because it's just very negative. You have people who are making disparaging remarks about the Chinese and who are these people who are coming in here to take our birthright and whatnot. I don't want to hear that right now, and I don't think that's what the Bahama people want to hear.
Again, Rogan, the Bahamian population, we're fatigued. We're tired. I'm tired. You understand? We have been through ups and downs and Bahama closing and sandals and closing and,
and we're going to talk about sandals as well.
Come on. It's too many things going on. The level of uncertainty is crazy. For me, this as a single mother, I scared. I got to make sure I have money in the bank so I can imagine people who don't have the ability to generate funds and generate money. Rogan, I mean, this is just the time, and I think people fed up.
You know what? This is a case of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because had the Christie administration had information about this deal and they didn't reveal it, people were going to say, what are they hiding? They knew that the people were going to get their money and they didn't say anything to us. There was
the people are only going now on the track record.
We got to take a break, but we'll be right back on Ed Field Side. We'll continue this conversation and talk about sandals. Oh, before we go, Stuart Bowe, Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association president, is our guest this evening, so you want to stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. Live. How much time do we have in the segment? It's 5:48. Okay, so Tashina, you wanted to finish a point about Bahama and the mistrust or distrust that people have about the Christie administration, and that's why it's leading to people asking so many questions or not feeling that they can trust the government on this deal.
Well, you said it, Rogan. I mean, people don't feel that they don't feel like the track
confidence inside the Christie administration. I understand that
the track record isn't them for them to feel confident in the fact that government goes into these and what comes out is masterful negotiations at its best for the benefit of the Bahamian people, and we get everything and give away minimal. They feel like we give away too much when we head into these things.
I made my little note here today. I spoke to an attorney when I was at my office today, a very good attorney. He was saying, these people who are concerned about them giving away, the government giving away the birthright. Obviously we talked about the Atlanta's most favored clause, but he said the government can't give a developer anything that goes beyond what's included in the Hotels Encouragement Act. So anything beyond that, they'd have to go and get parliamentary approval for. So this concern about, what are they giving away? They're giving away citizenship. I think Mr. Christie even addressed that some months ago, saying that may have been a request, but that was something that was not agreed to. But anything like that goes beyond the Hotel Encouragement Act, they'd have to go to Parliament and get approval for.
Well, Rogan, all I'm going to say is time will tell. And I do feel that we have to be very careful about having governments and countries own so much of our own country. Okay, and we need to be afraid of that. We need to be fearful of that because then we're losing our autonomy. We're losing our sovereignty.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Like you said, time is a truth teller. I'm just not going to. I certainly have questions, like everybody else has questions. I would like details, but I understand why they're withholding the details. I'll just take a wait and see approach. I don't need to get on the air and blast the government. And let me say this too: I'm no sycophant. I'm no fan of the Christie administration, but I'm not a hater either. I'm just somebody who, and I'm not saying that for you. I'm just saying that across the board. I want the government to succeed. And there are lots of people who don't want the government to succeed.
I do want the government to succeed.
There are people who don't.
Because if the government
succeeds. But let me tell you something, not everybody thinks like that. But anyway, that's my little spiel about Bahama. Another hotel property that's making news is Sandals. For making redundant 600 workers. No consultation whatsoever with the workers.
But I see the PR was really on point with that because they were like spewing out those press releases. The press releases were coming like,
The
okay.
PR ain't that good when you got 600 people unemployed, and then a couple days
where
later you seek to rehire
they
those
were
individuals.
just like kind of reframing the news with all of that, and just less than 24 hours after we let them go, we've already started work. So it's this feeling that we're trying to get this hotel reopened and get these people back on their jobs.
Well, why
but
make them
again,
redundant?
but see, here's the thing. The flip side of that is if you don't make them redundant, if you don't let everybody go, then they don't get money to take home. And so how many people are sitting...
And then why turn around then and say, oh, they come on this line and get
problem.
rehired? That's
the
my
problem.
issue.
That's the problem. For me, if I went back on that job to get rehired, it's because I'm just trying to have something to do just in case I can't find anything else. You understand what I'm saying?
It's
but I'll be looking
busting at its worst.
It really is.
I mean, because I don't understand the logic in that.
But for me, just let the people go who you want to let go.
Yeah, exactly. If you thought your work was unproductive, you're not satisfied with the quality of service they're rendering, then just get rid of those individuals.
Yeah.
But there are individuals, and my brother used to work at Sandals. He recently left Sandals a few months ago. But there are people who are incredible workers, and they're now on the unemployment line now, seeking to get
But they
back
had
in
about
Sandals.
60 or so that they said that they transferred to Exuma. And for me, I wanted to know
600
like
people.
60 or 60, so 10%.
Okay, so fantastic, Tashina.
That's the you know
That's
what?
sarcasm.
That's the 10%. That's the 10% of the. That's the
sarcasm.
tithers.
That's the tithers. That's the 10%.
That's the tithers.
Boy.
They lance off. Tithers lance off. You should know about that.
Oh, I know about that. Money just come in my hand the other day. Don't ask for none.
You owe me money.
Girl,
You have a
I
huge
owe
bill
you
with
a
me. My
dime.
consultancy fees.
Oh, you will deduct that from my consultancy fees.
How you write this thing and don't cuss them out? Here's what you say. Let's do
Yeah, you
some.
know-
Let's do some Caucasian talk.
We almost out of time, but yeah. So your friend Usain Bolt is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. You know, he's fresh off of his multiple wins at the Olympics. Did a great job. I like
The
Bolt.
triple.
But now Bolt say, man, time to party. So he was caught, this young lady, I don't know if she's in the service industry. No, I don't talk about tourism. But she is now spilling her guts about her passionate night with Bolt.
Her little tryst.
Said they made love twice for an hour at a time. And he gave the jobless single mother of two a €100 note, which I did the math is $112.81.
Or 14,000 Jamaican dollars.
and he gave it to her in euro. That's not even her currency.
Right.
Homegirl got to go and convert that in the bank and then get some change. And you know they could take some money out for those fees. But
But she give all this to the taxi driver, even though that's their money. So he ain't giving no change. You think he give a change?
So what you said? You said there were all kind of holes in this girl's story. Her name is what's her name? Duarte. I can't remember.
Shady JD is what I'm calling her. Yeah.
Said the Jamaican star pestered her for sex via the Google the Google Translate app.
How is he pestering her though when she rubs his abs? And she said he came over to us. Right. So he didn't come to you. He came over to your
circle. He sent his bodyguard over to her.
That's what she
with the
said.
Google Translate. Yeah, this is what she said. What you said? You said
no, but you seem both wrong on so many levels, right?
He has a girlfriend of what,
Number
2
one,
years?
the girl ain't attractive. Your girlfriend
that's why he's wrong.
Well, your girlfriend,
Kendrick. I started
your
off with
girlfriend look better than her.
She's talking about the girl ain't attractive. You know, men don't necessarily cheat on women who look better than their wives or their girlfriends. So stop.
And he taking selfies.
And he don't care.
He
knows
don't
she's
care.
taking the photos. And he didn't even sneak over into bed and grab that phone and delete.
He didn't even try wrap up his face but the most important thing they left out is whether they practice safe sex. So that was that was what I was looking online for to say yes, and he used a condom.
No, I know about that.
No, I didn't see it.
Bolt got his bodyguard to go over and ask her over Google Translate, if she'd go home with him. She said she was reluctant. Boy, but she quickly said yes, after he show her his lightning bolt. And don't think dirty, y'all, is the stance. So he bust the lightning bolt stance and she's like, ooh.
And she's like, well, okay.
No, she said C because she doesn't speak a lick of English.
She said C.
So this article, they're quoting her, and I guess they have the little translator. She said the room was tidy. He had 2 single beds. And one of the things what stuck out is they say he likes Rihanna's Work. So that's his song. They showed him in a club dancing, if you want to call that dancing to work. Not a lick of rhythm. But you know, he
And
gets
he
he backing it up.
Jamaican. He's supposed to rhythm, right? Don't they all?
That sounds so.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
sounds
I'm being
so-
facetious.
But my favorite line of this whole story, my favorite line is,
And then Kendrick is supposed to have
weigh in. Kendrick-
yeah,
Kendrick
Kendrick
said
is supposed
he-
to weigh in
no,
and
Kendrick-
tell us what he would do
Kendrick say no. He
if
told you
he
he'd say
if he
off
lost
air.
his mind and he did a bolt move.
Kendrick said
If he
off
busted
air,
a
he would tell
bolt.
You setting the Kendrick up. Say, this is the line that's the funniest to me. Bolt didn't give her his number, but promised to call her to arrange a second date during the Paralympics, which starts September 7th. And then she later came back and said, but you know, she's not too hopeful, I guess, about him calling her. Bolt dropped that hot walk on her, and he said, man, I
And
out,
gone.
man. I going on the next thing.
Bolt say peace.
This is just too funny. You said Bolt isn't that, you're not attracted to him, are you?
No.
His teeth, like I told you, look like someone took some scissors and just cut it, like put it like this and cut his teeth. It's very, very short and like jagged.
No, but you love lovely dark skinned men.
I do love dark-skinned men.
He should, and he has a good dark
He's
skin.
too skinny for me though. I
Yeah,
don't
he
like
is
my
too
men too
skinny.
skinny. But the cut off teeth, I ain't too feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How tall is he?
6'5", eh?
Oh, he's that tall?
Yeah, your boy
Impressive.
Fields.
So he is
stands
tall
next
as you, Kendrick.
head to head. You 6'5", right, Kendrick? You 6'6"?
Oh, Kendrick get him by an inch.
I always feel like a little shrimp inside this room, especially with him and Ed
Kendrick
in
told
here.
me today he was 6'6", but I said I don't have that 6'6" feeling next
That's
to
because
him.
you in a little piece of heels. So if you take them off and stand up, you'll see the disparity.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I know we
see.
have like about 3 more minutes to go, but you know, today is the anniversary, the 15-year. And I know you always say I always get caught up with celebrities, but I do love this girl.
Who?
The 15-year anniversary, death anniversary of
Of
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah? I remember that.
I do miss her. I mean, she was one of my favorites. She was one of my favorite singers. She really was, and I hated that she died.
Like
and-
your first cousin,
Yeah, she's
and
my
you
first
used to
cousin.
go over by her house all the time and have sleepovers.
yeah.
And she was your best friend, and
Do
you
you not
shared
have
all
like a
your memories
celebrity?
with her.
Do you not have a celebrity that you? Yes, you do. All tired. What's his
Morris
name? Morris
Chestnut?
All
Don't
tired
dear
Morris Chestnut.
Morris Chestnut.
Oh, so
Dan
why you all-
Regan.
oh, why you
my
all
God.
passionate
That
about
is
him?
totally different. I met Morris Chestnut.
Morris Chestnut is so lame.
and he's firm, like how she claimed Bolt was firm.
Did he do the lightning rod?
He doesn't need to do that.
You-
Rogan,
Tashina,
how dare
please
you
stop.
even read
I don't
Morris
see. I don't even
Chestnut's
see what
name
Let
in
me
the
tell you
same
something.
breath.
Hold on. We have 2 minutes to go before 6. This girl dragged me out to what was that supposed to be, like a little meet and greet for
Yes, Morris
Chestnut
Chestnut.
years ago?
And she left early.
You
I
better
was
believe
determined
it.
to stay.
What time was
I
it? Like
love
midnight?
Morris Chestnut like how I love Dwayne Johnson.
Who, The Rock?
Yes.
Lame.
Dwayne
Lame.
Johnson, how you don't love him?
How many people showed up for Morris Chestnut? Where was that? At the old 601 Club?
They probably didn't
But
know
4
about
people.
it. Not what 4 people? It was a good.
Including you.
It was a good little crowd.
So
it wasn't
now-
a crush.
So Kendrick, you see how she got all worked up? Oh, work up for what this guy named Morris Chestnut, and she getting mad at me
No,
about somebody who passed
no.
away 15 years ago. My
I
dear
know
Aaliyah.
I love Aaliyah.
Anyway, we're going to take a break for news. We'll be right back at Ed Fields Live. And of course, like I said earlier, we have Stuart Bowe. He's the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association president. We'll try to keep it tame and respectful when he comes in here.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ed Fields Live. I'm Rogan Smith. Got Tashina Robinson Blair in my company. She's my co-host for the day, and of course Kendrick Williams. We're joined by Stuart Bowe. He's the president of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. He's also the senior vice president and general manager of hotel operations at Atlantis Paradise Island. I think this is the first time I've interviewed you. Tashina, you interviewed him before, huh?
I think I've spoken to you.
Well, good evening.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
This is a great little introduction. How you doing?
I'm well.
So, you prefer me to call you Mr. Bowe or Stuart?
Stuart.
Stuart is good.
Stuart is wonderful.
You've been in the business, the hospitality industry, for about 20 years, and I think that
He
you
said
got
30.
Is it 30? 30
Actually,
years.
it's more like 30. Next year,
It's
it'll
30?
make 30 years. I can't believe it.
30. You look
Wow.
good. I see what Tashina talking about. Yeah, you look good.
Oh,
You
okay.
look-
Thank you.
But you have a very interesting story. I think I read some time ago that you got started in the housekeeping department. Is that correct?
Well, I kind of got started working at McDonald's. I worked for the Williams family when I was a teenager. I started working with them in their back rooms. And then after that, I went to St. Anne's,
Great school.
went to COB, worked full-time, worked at McDonald's full-time. Had an opportunity to go to Florida State University, privileged, graduated, went back to McDonald's, and then there was this program they were running. It was a management training program, which was then Resorts International. I got into that program where they pay you $200 for 2 years straight under contract. But it was the best investment I've ever made in my life because after the program, after actually 1 year, I went into housekeeping and really all the rest was history. Then in the middle of my career, around 2008, I got an opportunity to go to Atlantis, Dubai, obviously working with the Kersners and all their openings. While I was there, I was able to do that particular opening as well as go to the Maldives and be a part of that. So I was there a little over 2 years. That was a great experience. Came back home in 10 as senior vice president of the Coral and Beach Towers. Did that 3 or 4 years. Last year, the company consolidated the Royal Coral and Beach Towers as one. So that's kind of my new job.
You working on your PhD, I heard?
Yes.
Oh,
Whenever I get an opportunity, I'd like to get my doctorate in leadership and organizational change. So I'm hoping by next year to have that all sorted out. It's just finding the time.
Yeah, very accomplished. Sheena wants to go and pursue hers as well, right?
Yeah, it's
Well,
a point.
it's a great thing if you want to teach. I mean, ultimately, one day I want to teach.
Teach and research.
I want to teach.
Yeah. So you're now in your third term as president of the
Yeah,
Hotel Association?
this is my third term.
Did you go in unopposed?
Well, I was told when I got back from Africa that you were the president of Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. So being old school and being a baby boomer, that was fine. That was a great opportunity. Sandy Sands is the immediate past president. And I'm told I'm the only person that's done it for 3 consecutive terms. So this actually makes 6 years. And at the end of this year, I think we have a couple of candidates to ensure that the BHTA goes on.
Okay.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about your role as president. What do you do day in, day out? What's the mandate of the association?
Well, we do a lot of things. First of all, we do a lot of advocacy. Last year was a big year for us with the introduction of VAT because we spent a lot of time working, obviously, with the Ministry of Finance, working with the operators, doing a lot of research, working with the government to ensure that VAT was properly rolled out. VAT impacted our industry more than any other industry because historically, you would just be taxed for rooms. But VAT spread out into goods, services, food and beverage. So it was really a tourism tax in many respects. So that was huge. So we advocate VAT, NHI. Obviously, we're on board with talking to the Ministry of Works about the cost of utilities because the cost of utilities and the cost of labor are the 2 major costs of any
I remember
hotels.
George Marcantonis used to speak extensively
George,
on that.
who's now in Las Vegas, of course, I do it, so we advocate a lot. Another key issue or key service that we offer that you don't see is we supply a lot of the industry stats, but occupancies and average rates. You won't necessarily see that stuff, but we work in conjunction with the hotels and the Ministry of Tourism. We also award about $75,000 a year in scholarships.
I didn't know that.
So we raise money through the Podbane Scholarship Fund. We also raise money through our golf tournament. So we have different events during the year, and we're also very proud that we give away loads of money. Beyond that, we just work with our hotel members to ensure that whatever relations, whatever services they need with the government get taken care of.
Absolutely.
So what are the challenges facing the industry at the moment?
Well, right now, obviously, there's the talk of Zika. We don't have any cases that impact our industry, but Zika has had a very significant effect in the rest of the Caribbean, in Puerto Rico and the DR. So we're managing that message very well. Of course, we work with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Tourism to ensure that the message is managed because this is the age of social media, and all we need is one case and to not be taking all the proactive measures. And then, of course, that can have an impact.
We've had cases here, though, right? What
Yes,
is it, like
yes,
3?
we do. Yes, we do, but none related directly to
tourism.
tourists and none off the island of New Providence.
Right.
So we're managing that message very, very carefully, and we're watching that carefully. And then, of course, there's the talk of Cuba. Cuba, in reality, is 3 to 5 years away. But what we have in the BHTA is we have a Cuba committee. So we're starting to put our plans in place to sit with government in the coming months to talk about some of the issues related to Cuba. I forgot to tell you I'm also the first vice president of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association.
Okay.
So Cuba has reached out to CHTA to set up their hotel association. So some of us are going, I think at the end of October, going to Cuba. We were there in March. We'll go back to assist them with setting up their hotel association, to assist them with setting up Marketplace. We have Marketplace back in the Bahamas. That's where you bring all the buyers and suppliers together. It was at Atlantis in January, and it's going to be at Atlantis in January 2017. But Cuba wants to set up a Marketplace. And then there's a chief conference where you bring all of the best practices of the region together. Cuba also wants to set up a chief program. So Cuba, I believe, in 3 to 5 years, with the infrastructural challenges that they have, will be viable. In the short term, this fall, you're going to start to see 20, 25 flights off continental USA fly into Cuba.
And they have the cruise ships already going there.
Cruise ships.
You're not concerned about that?
So I'm concerned. All I'm saying is we're being cautious. We're being proactive about Cuba. But the reality as being a major competitor, Cuba has been open for 5 years. Cuba is not just open. Cuba is where most of the Canadians go. Okay, you were talking more recently, a lot of Europeans going to Cuba. But in 3 to 5 years, that is a reasonable time if the infrastructure comes and everything else that comes along with opening up for Cuba to be a real viable competitor. But no one is taking Cuba lightly. We've set up a committee. We're not.
Taking away from the whole Caribbean.
We have a little bit of runway. Because we have to set up infrastructure. We have a little bit of runway because they're asking our assistance in a lot of things. But we're taking it very seriously. We're setting up committees, and then we're going to make our proposals.
I want to come back to Cuba a little later, but a lot has been going on the hospitality industry of late, particularly with the headline news about Baha Mar and Sandals. But I want to talk about Sandals specifically. I know you can't speak with any specificity about Sandals, but what is your take on what's going on now with them letting go of the 600 workers, making them redundant, and then initiating a new hiring practice just days later?
Well, anyone being out of job right now in this economy, obviously we're concerned about. But we're watching the whole process. What I'm probably as interested in is precedents. And that's why we're really watching what's going on with Sandals. So I've seen everything in the paper between the minister and Sandals and all the communications with the unions and everything. But we're watching very carefully on the sideline just to see what precedence comes from this particular process. But we don't want to see anybody out of work.
No.
And it doesn't send the message, it doesn't have the optics globally that you want. So yes, we're concerned, but we're watching it closely.
But what are you wary of? So you say you're watching it for precedents.
Well, okay, they're supposed to be closed from August the 15th to August the 13th. First of all, I believe from my communications they're going to reopen, okay? But what this does, from what I've seen in the paper and from what Mr. Ferguson has said and what other persons have written, is the precedence is how this operator, okay, is going to interact with our workforce, meaning our Bahamian workforce. And that's going backwards and forwards right now, and it's really not clear in my mind. So that's why we're watching, to see how that unfolds.
Okay. And as far as Baha Mar is concerned, obviously the Prime Minister on Monday announced that construction will continue in September. They're withholding a lot of the details. Folks are really upset about that. But I wanted to ask you, do you think Baha Mar is going to have an issue with marketing that property internationally, given the bad press it's suffered over the past year?
The answer in a short answer is yes. If you've promised the market a couple of times that you were going to be out there, yes, you have some work to do, Baha Mar. But marketing in our environment is partnership. Partnership between the property, partnership between the various promotion boards, in their case CABRA, and partnership between the government. So it will have to be a triad marketing effort for that particular property to be successful in the long run.
I remember I'm sorry, Tashina, go ahead.
No, I wanted to talk a bit about the Family Islands and the Family Island market, because we hear so much
Do you
about...
mind if I could just follow this up before we get to the Family Islands? But I remember Saul Kirshner predicting that there would be a bit of a bloodbath if Baha Mar were to open all of its rooms at one time. He wanted them to take, or he suggested rather that they take a more phased approach, and I know that you were a fan of that as well. We don't know the details as to whether or not that will happen, but just kind of give us some insight if they don't phase this project in, what could happen to the market.
Well, I'm a little biased because I came up through the
Yeah, the
Atlantis
phased
family,
approach.
so I understand the pros of opening the Coral and Beach in '94, Royal in '98, the Marina Village in '05, the Cove in '07, because you want to allow the market to stabilize itself. And so that's what we hope from the BHTA standpoint as well with Bahama. They have 3 major towers. There's the 1,000-room casino tower, there's the tower over the convention center, and then they have the smaller tower. So we're hoping this time they attempt to phase Bahama, and that allows the market to stabilize, because you have 3 major factors. One is labor. Okay. Ultimately, when the 2,200 rooms or new rooms are open, that's supposed to employ between 3,000 and 4,000 persons. All right. Now, drawing 3,000 or 4,000 persons in this market is huge, because you're not going to be drawing them from one place. They're coming from banks. They're coming from schools. They're coming from hotels. They're coming from all over. So there will be some labor contraction during that process if you attempt to do it in its entirety. The other issue is airlift.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Okay,
there are less
it's
concerns.
critical to have the airlift in place, and the airlift requires money, because gone are the days of countries promising airlines that they would have letters of credit or funds in the bank. You have to now have the money in the bank to ensure that they can maintain their load factors, or they will draw down on the funds if they don't. Okay, so that's the other issue. And then, of course, there's the issue of rate war or whatever you said, Mr. Kersner spoke about.
the bloodbath.
In the short term, if you don't have a defined market, there's that opportunity. Now, of course, when they were originally opening Bahama, they were talking about flying people in from China and Asia. I mean, that has its opportunities. Fortunately, I used to work in Dubai. It took me 19 hours to get home. So I mean, it was very wishful. And if that's still the marketing approach, then obviously it's going to take Bahama and the Ministry of Tourism and the various promotion boards to work together to ensure that happens.
Yeah. Tashina, you were asking about the family islands earlier. Sorry.
Because we hear so much about Nassau. Speak to us about what's happening in Grand Bahama. Nothing.
Well, we can
Speak
talk
to us
about
what's happening in
Well,
other
Family
family
Islands, love them. Family Islands this year is actually having a great year despite what's going on in the Caribbean. So Family Islands right now, rates are flat, but occupancy is actually up. Now, as we speak, everything's winding down in the Family Islands. September, October, that's when they normally close. But our Family Islands are a great product for the future, because it's the product that I think a lot of millennials, and we could talk a little bit later about millennials, are going to like, because they like experiences. And so these major hotels like Atlantis and Bahama, I think that's the past. In the future, you're going to have the smaller boutique hotels that are more suited for the family islands, where you can create experiences which tend to be what the new millennials want versus the baby boomers that are kind of into the mass hotels. So you're seeing a shift. And I think the Family Islands are also poised for medical tourism. So if we can get emergency services that are reliable to these Family Islands, I think we have a huge opportunity with the Family Islands. The other thing that's growing that's kind of under the radar that impacts the Family Islands is what we call the sharing economy. That's Airbnb. And that, I mean, now we could spend a whole day talking about that, but I know there's some people out there making some money in the Family Islands, renting homes, but it's something we need to regulate. And I think the BHTA, along with the Ministry of Tourism, we have to work together, because what we can't have is expose ourselves with reputational risk by not having products that are being regulated. And then, of course, there's that other word of taxation. Persons are actually supposed to be paying taxes for these funds. So I think that there's a lot of upside with the Family Islands.
So occupancy level is like what? Because you said the rate is flat. So what is it going
Family
for?
Islands were like average rates were somewhere between $230, $250. I mean, it's a good rate in the Family Islands. It's not inexpensive, but the experience makes up for all the value, and the people are just outstanding.
So they were enjoying occupancy level like at what?
Yeah, up until this point in low 70s. Again, they normally close September, August, late August, September, October. They retool to get ready for winter season, and then they run again. But the Family Island product is a great product. It's diverse. There are about 14 Family Islands. It's not just Nassau, obviously, and Grand Bahama. Abacos are doing exceptionally well. Okay, so the Abacos, Exomas, Cat Islands, they're better. They have better infrastructural systems as it relates to transportation and ferries. They have great physical product, and of course, they have the leadership.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on Ed Fields Live, and we'll continue the conversation with Stuart Bowe, president of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. We'll be back. Welcome back to Ed Fields Live. I'm Roganne Smith, joined by Tashina Robinson-Blair, my co-host, and Kendrick Williams. We're having a great conversation with Stuart Bowe. He's the president of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. And I'm going to ask you a question, Stuart. Kendrick's a Freeport boy himself, but he asked earlier, why is it that Grand Bahama can't seem to get back on its feet? Everybody has this great hope that it would be returned to the Magic City. I don't know if those days are gone, but what's the challenge there with getting Grand Bahama back?
Well, that's a very complex question. Of course, there's the whole port situation, but Grand Bahama somehow has gone from being a Nassau type destination with casinos and EP hotels kind of to an all-inclusive island. And all-inclusives have things that are very particular about them. Now, first and foremost, most of the business from Grand Bahama comes out of Canada. And what happened between 2015 and 2016 is you saw the Canadian dollar go from 1 to 1 US to about 1 to about 70 cents right now.
Yeah.
So that made the product very expensive. So Grand Bahama right now is not doing as well as Nassau or the Family Islands, and their revenues are down. In addition to that was the introduction of Memories. Memories is an all-inclusive. So Memories has some interesting factors about it because Memories is really dependent on Sunwing. So Sunwing really feeds Grand Bahama. Sunwing, because they have their own planes, they have their own travel agencies. So this is really an island that's being fed by one operator primarily. And then because there's so many Canadians that funded Grand Bahama and the Canadian dollar has been reduced by about 30%.
And they're frugal travelers as well.
Well, some history shows that. But Grand Bahama is more expensive to the group that was bringing in 70 or 80% of your business. In addition, the business that you do have is being funded through one particular operator. And then thirdly, Alukaya is up for sale. So you have the whole optics of Alukaya being for sale, the Canadian dollar going down, and then of course Sunwing being the primary supplier of everything. So all that kind of builds to what we have today in Grand Bahama and has led to the overall erosion of the average rates.
Are there any new trends we're seeing in terms of the tourism sector? Any new markets opening up?
Sports tourism is huge. Okay, we're back talking to
sports.
Sports tourism is huge. I mean, obviously we have the World Relays next year. FIFA, they're gonna have beach volleyball. I think Fred Lund, I'm working with them on that particular piece. Your Battle for Atlantis. Right now, there's some college basketball tournaments going on. I know because there are loads of basketball teams at Atlantis locally. Sports tourism. Chris Brown is having his annual event. So sports tourism has kind of taken flight here in the Bahamas. Then, of course, medical tourism is slowly growing. And then there's religious tourism. That's also huge, especially in your shoulder months like September, October, when rates drop off. Now you're seeing a lot of church conventions and different phases of the tourism industry coming into light. So those are the three segments of tourism that are really growing rapidly right now. Ecotourism to a lesser degree, but as the millennials mature, we would see ecotourism in the Bahamas grow because this obviously is a great product for ecotourism. Now, hotels, as part of what we are doing in the future at Atlantis and other hotels, we are trying to redeploy and redefine these hotels to millennials. Because these, well, I guess they're not kids. They're born between 1980 and 2000. But these persons are connected. So hotels are going back through their rooms every time they do refurbishments, making sure you got ports and you got internet everywhere and you have technology. So those are the trends. The other trend is there's a lot of technology being used in the hotels today, in the Atlantises, in the Comfort Suites, in the Sandals, in the Hiltons. iPads for check-in, mobile check-in from home. You can check in from your laptops. You can purchase meals in some cases. So a lot of travel, what used to take place with travel agents, is gone. It's now taking place on your phone. So the industry is moving very, very rapidly in that regard.
So tell us about the group business. How is the group business looking this year?
Group business is back. 2015 was the best year we've had in a long time since 28, but the group business is back. Group business is back, obviously, primarily in Atlantis because they have a huge convention center, and you can take groups up to 3,000 rooms because you have obviously almost 4,000 rooms. So the group business is back, and also because we're great at it. We have a great airport. We have great transportation systems, and we've been doing it a long time. So groups like to come here because of our reputation, and we've handled the largest groups that I've known, IBM and group people that are bringing 2,000 rooms, 3,000 rooms. Even the World Relays is upper to 1,200 rooms. We can handle volume. We do volume well. It's planned, it's organized, and we have a great track record. And it's a tax write-off when you get back home.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
That's always helpful.
Have we seen any advancement or improvement in our tourism product? I'm somebody who likes to go on cruises, and I always check out different countries in the Caribbean. I see what they're doing. I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I always take notes as to what they're doing, what works, what I like. And I feel like that little, I don't even know if that's a 1 mile stretch that we got on Bay Street, that ain't going to cut it. I think for a great chunk of our country, for New Providence, it's always been at Atlantis, Paradise Island, and that Bay Street stretch. What are we doing to advance, or do you see any advancements in our tourism product offerings for our tourists so they have something to do here? It's not a boring destination.
We've gotten better. There's food tourism. That's growing. We have pockets. I mean, frankly, it's going to take a while outside of the hotels to really advance those particular veins of tourism. But what has happened in the last 7 years is you've seen all-inclusives go from about 8% up to about 15%. Now, when Bahama comes online, it'll go back to 13%, which is very manageable because, there are those who like all-inclusives and there are those who don't all-inclusives and talk about trickle-downs. But we have a great balance between all-inclusives and EP hotels. But we have the best tourism product that we've had in the last 20 years because, in reality, our industry was preparing for Bahama last year Christmas. So Atlantis is fresh. You have the Cove that's just completing a soft refurbishment as we speak. One of the towers that I operate, we just closed 2 weeks ago, and that'll be a brand new tower in 6 or 7 months. We have new pools. We have a new casino at Atlantis and new restaurants, Plato's. Sandals is also doing a refurbishment. Comfort Suites just refurbished their rooms last year. Hilton is going through a refurbishment. We have 3 new hotels that are coming online. On Paradise Island, we have the Warwick. Okay, it's 240 rooms. That's going to be an all-inclusive as well. That's going to be an adult-only hotel on Paradise Island. We have the Courtyard Marriott. That's on the corner of Nassau Street and Bay Street. That'll be smaller. That'll be mid-range. We have the Point.
We need those, though.
We have the Point that's coming online, which is at the first phase is the parking center and the business center, and then they're going to do guest rooms. So there's a lot of fresh product right now in the market, and it's fresh and is exciting, and we have great transportation systems to connect. So the cruise markets actually are going in the opposite direction because what the cruises are doing now is the cruises are upselling a lot. If you go in the Allure or you go in the Fantasy, you can purchase. You can pay one price. However, if you want to eat in the fine restaurants, you have to pay extra. So it's no longer one price and you get all the services. So because they're trying to increase their profits as well. So we're chasing them, they're chasing us. We're chasing them with their technology, which is phenomenal. And then they're chasing us with our services like water parks, like real beaches, like marinas, like casinos, like spas, like some of the other ethnic stuff.
But go ahead, Deshina.
I was about to say, I know that Breeze's chairman, John Issa, he's never been shy about saying we've given too much to cruise ships in terms of concessions or allowing their casinos to be open while they're in port. I know he's had his concerns. What's the Bahamas hotel tourism? What's your take?
Well, ultimately, you have to have something that people want. You have to have a product that is valuable to persons. And I think, not to make this an Atlantis conversation, Atlantis has dolphin, and that's why many people go off. Now, what Bahama will attempt to do with their casino and their dining offerings restaurants is you need offerings that are valuable. That's why people come off of cruise ships. Other than that, they stay on cruise
So
ships.
it's our job to lure them
it's our
off.
job to lure them, not just with selling jewelry and those items. Those items are important, but we need to create the unique experiences at the forts, at Government House, through the dining experiences, and then of course we have to ensure that it's safe. Okay? So all those things, when you put it together, create a package. We're still the leading cruise port in the Caribbean, and so cruises, I think, come here, but they are in the same business as us. They're trying to make profits, so they sell our products if the guests on the ships want them, and if they don't, people just tend to stay on board.
We're the leading cruise port destination, you're saying, but I mean, my issue is, okay, I hear the offerings that we have as far as property is concerned. I think my concern is more, what do you do? Particularly if you're trying to lure cruise ship passengers off the boat and into the streets. It's not enough, I feel, to just go into a jewelry store or the regular tourist store or the straw market, which a lot of times doesn't even have authentic Bahamian goods like it did back in the day. So what are you hearing from your visitors? What is it that they want that we're just simply not offering? Are you hearing anything?
Well, what I'm hearing, first of all, I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm hearing is visitors want consistent products, right, that we can deliver with high quality. And that's not necessarily any of the above. You have to be able to deliver a product that's consistent. Once you build the confidence of the cruise operators, I believe they will send the people to you. So if you have a great product and you're selling food or something authentically Bahamian, people will send it, because look at what they're doing at Grey Cliff and what they're doing in that environment. So there are persons who figured it out. They have something that's authentic. However, the service is consistent and it doesn't drop. So there's no variances. As soon as that service level varies, and that person on the cruise ship is putting their brand or their reputation at stake, that is where the issues are. That's why the cruise passengers tend to go into certain areas. And I think it's all about the consistency of service delivery.
Right. We've had millions of visitors coming to the Bahamas. The majority of them are from the cruise ship, correct? Because they're not this. They've sort of eclipsed the stopover.
Stopovers have been around 1.3 million on average for the last 10 years. That's why when we bring the rooms on for Bahama, that's important, because finally we're able to grow the stopover visitor in some significant way once the Bahama, settles.
If we have the flights to bring them in.
Well, that's why you want to phase it. That's why you want to phase it. If you try to do it all at once, I mean, obviously there are pros and cons of doing that, but you want to phase it because it is collaboration. It's collaboration between the hotel, between the ministry, and collaboration between the various promotion boards. If we work together, and we've proven that we've worked together for 40 years and we're here, and I know there are other segments of the economy that have their views, but it's going to be tourism for a long time.
Yeah. We talked earlier about Zika. I wanted to get your take on the travel advisories. We have 4 minutes before break. The travel advisories that the U.S. State Department usually puts out, and how the impact that has on the tourism industry. If you could speak a little bit to that.
It can have an impact. It has not impacted us to date because we're tracking this every day. So we've not seen any fall off or cancellations. And we've been very proactive working with the Ministry of Health and working with our external marketing firms to ensure that we stay current with whatever is going on. But Zika has the potential to do what it did to Puerto Rico or the DR or Jamaica or even South Florida, which you're seeing in South Florida. So if you don't manage it and if you don't demonstrate to the travel community that you're proactively taking steps to spray and do all the things that you can do, then it has huge potential. But right now, we have not seen any cases that are very specific to tourism here in the Bahamas and even outside of New Providence.
Sorry, I think I was referring mostly to the travel advisories regarding the crime advisories from the U.S.
Said Zika.
No, it's okay. No, I was saying we were talking about Zika earlier. I was talking more about the crimes advisories that the U.S. government puts out against the Bahamas. Have you seen any fallout from that?
None, because first of all, we take it very seriously. And we work along with the police and, again, the ministries, and we work with the hotels. We take it very seriously. This is the age of social media. All you need is one situation to get out of hand. Now, when you look at the numbers, okay, we have 6 million people coming through, and maybe you have 10 or 12 incidences. one is bad, but we take it very seriously, and all the hotels have their individual forces that work to ensure that guests who come here have a safe experience.
Absolutely.
But we take it very seriously.
We're going to take a little break on Ed Feels Live. We'll be right back with Stuart Bowe. Welcome back to Ed Feels Live. We're coming down to the final moments. I'm Rogan Smith, joined by Tashina Robinson Blair, and Kendrick Williams is on the board. We have Stuart Bowe. He's the president of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. We're just having a conversation about the future of the industry and the challenges that they present, that the industry presents. Tashina, you had a question that you wanted to put to
Yeah, I
Stuart.
wanted to find out more about our existing markets, where our travelers are coming from, and emerging markets that have some untapped potential for us.
Well, our existing market is North America. 84% of the guests come from either the U.S. and Canada, specifically the Eastern Seaboard. New York, as you know, has 18 million people. New York, Philadelphia, Boston, and now Texas is becoming a huge market. At the end of the day, 8.5 persons come out of North America. What's emerging is South America, because there are 500 million people in South America. And so just as there are 500 million people between the U.S. and Canada, there are 500 million persons in South America. And you have 180 million technically in the middle class. So you have Brazil, you have Mexico, you have Panama, and 3 years ago, we started getting flights on an airline called Copa. And we see that continuing to grow. Now, to keep that market, I think we understand it a little bit better now. You need great shopping because, typically coming out of South America, you have a lot of rich people who have a lot of disposable income. Okay. People need to be able to shop. And what we found is a lot of people came to the Bahamas, spent some time, went to the U.S., shop, went home, or went to the U.S., shop, came to the Bahamas, and went home. So that is the emerging market. So hotels are now working a lot with persons who can speak Spanish or Portuguese. If you're Brazilian, that's the next big market. Europe still only 4 to 5% of our guests come out of Europe. Most of the Europeans go down to Barbados and the southern Caribbean. What's good about the Bahamas, again, as much as it's cliche, is we have location. Mm-hmm. You can be on vacation from New York in 7 hours in the Bahamas, including airtime. That's difficult to beat. And so our location is great. We just have to take advantage by having great service, not good service, great service, and a very diverse product that more and more is becoming attractive to millennials, because that's the new market that's going to have all the money and be doing all the spending for the next 25 years.
And the average length of stay is how long?
4.3 nights.
And the spend?
I guess somewhere around $3,000 when you include air and everything, and accommodations and everything. Mm-hmm. Some of the demographics that I've seen, we did some studies for a different exercise last year. Average person that comes to the Bahamas, their family makes probably between $125,000 to $175,000 a year, because you're spending $3,000 or $4,000 for a 3 to 4 day vacation when you include air and everything out of New York or to Boston or Philadelphia or Texas. So we're not cheap. No, we're not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. And that's why so much focus is placed on customer service at the Hiltons and at the Comfort Suites. And what's really good about the Family Islands is, despite the technology and the investment, it seems like the Family Islands has the best customer service surveys because of the genuine people. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And the big properties here in Nassau, obviously, we're trying to just keep pace through training.
I wanted to ask you, how are we getting any better in terms of promoting island hopping? Because I know at one point we were really talking about island hopping, experiencing at least one more island other than, your host, coming here and being in the capital and just trying to get them to do day trips.
We could do better. Clearly we could do better. I mean, we've not done a very good job with that. However, the Out Island Promotion Board, they're doing a lot of things this summer for locals to encourage locals to take vacations in the Bahamas, and that's what I would certainly like to market, because we have some wonderful family islands: Exuma, Abacos, the obviously Cat Island, Berry Islands. So there's great fishing. There's great tradition, and that's something that we
That's
encourage.
the cultural hub mostly on the Family
Yeah, it's a
Islands.
real cultural hub, and there's a great social calendar as well in our Family Islands. That more and more tourists, because there are so many regattas, so there's a lot going on in our Family Islands, though seasonal. But we could do better with the island hopping. Right now, with what's going on with the retooling in the industry, there's just a lot of competition. So I don't know how practical it is to expect in the short term for some of the big properties to say, come and stay with us for 5 nights and then go to Exuma for a night.
Right.
Now, what people are doing is people are doing excursions. They're doing power boating or swimming
that
with
happens a
the
lot.
with the pigs or going shooting or whatever they do. People are doing things like that as add-ons. And more, again, you're seeing the millennials do that because they're looking for experiences.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Brexit because, before I even get to that, any insight into why? Because I heard you say that the Europeans tend to go to Barbados. So, any insight as to why they choose that island nation rather than the Bahamas?
Some of it is just history, and again, our proximity to the U.S. I think it's just we're just close to the United States, and so we're very close to Florida, which is a big market. We're very close to the New Yorks. We're warm weather. We have the infrastructure, and we have the types of properties that can take care of a lot of the business out of North America. At the end of the day, there's only one hotel in the Caribbean that can handle 2,000 room groups, and that's Atlantis, and maybe whenever we bring on Bahamas. So for the corporations that want to travel, that have huge followings, you have to come into this environment, and so I think it's that more than any other reason. For the European business that we do get, we like because they tend to stay 10 to 14 days. So persons come here for a long time, they're involved in culture, so it is great business. It's just that in the short term, with everything that's happening in Europe and the Euro and now Brexit, which we're in a wait and see mode, because I think they're in a wait and see. Well, no one really knows yet what the impact of Brexit is. We know there will be an impact, but it becomes interesting. Now, someone like Barbados, where 75% of their guests come out of Europe, they should be more concerned because obviously with what happened with Brexit and Great Britain going through that transition right now, that's going to impact persons that come into that environment.
There'll be more softening over there in Barbados because of that.
And in theory, in the short term, if you're in New York, it's cheaper to go into UK right now. But I just don't see that happening. So I think we're well positioned with our demographics in the U.S. We want to be more diversified. We are. With South America, there's a lot of money in South America, in the South American middle class. We are seeing increases in Europe, though small. That's a good thing for us right now.
Is that being linked to advertising in the market?
Well, yes, advertising.
So you're doing a little more spend
at the hotel level as well as at the Ministry of Tourism level because they reopen some of their ministries in different parts of the world. So we'll start to see the benefits of that in the years to come.
So tell me about repeat visitor numbers. What are they looking at like?
Most hotels, I don't want to guess, but I think we're around 40 to 50% for the Nassau-based hotels, which is pretty good when you consider the volumes. Family Islands, when I did my research, is around 70%.
Oh, wow.
With the Family Islands. So
their clients are very loyal.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Because a lot of people, again, the Family Islands, second homes. You have these huge second home markets, and it's family, it's different generations. Nassau is volume. It's volume. You have these huge groups coming through, these old travel plans. What's good about the cruise industry is now we're seeing more cruise persons who come back as hotel
That's what I was
visitors.
just about to ask you if they graduate to that.
Of course. At the end of the day, I mean, you have to try it. In my opinion, I mean, I'm a hotelier. I've actually never even been on a cruise. I've been on many cruise ships. but at the end of the day, you can't replicate what you have on the island on the cruise ships. And that's why when they come on the cruise ships, they come over and then they realize that I can come on my own boat. There's a real beach, there's a dolphin, or I can go to Sandals, I can have a wedding, and all these things that is difficult to replicate in the cruise environment.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that, whether we have that graduation from
course.
the cruise ships to the stopovers.
Of course.
I want to talk to you, I know we're coming down to the final minutes of the show. I told you it goes really fast. We have like 10 more minutes about human capital. A few months ago, we had two folks on our show. I think you may be familiar with one of them. She's a trainer, Beverly Saunders.
Yes.
And she's awesome, by the
She's
way.
on the BHTA board
She's incredible.
for training. She is.
Incredible.
I work with Beverly also at Atlantis. She's
that's
now
right.
at Cable Bar, yeah.
Yeah, and Peter Rouncy, I forget his position at the Ocean Club, and he's a hotel, a restaurant owner. But we were talking about training in the industry and moving away from this mindset of servitude, basically trying to instill in people that you're giving a service rather than servitude in the hospitality industry. So I wanted to talk about how do we get people to change that mindset that giving quality service doesn't mean, and I'm going to put my quote fingers up, like you're a slave to someone, or this is a servitude type operation. You want to give the best service you can to folks. And what training goes on? Maybe you could speak from an Atlantis standpoint.
Well, I think there are two phases. I think people that think that are persons who are not necessarily linked to the tourism industry.
It's just a job
because
for them.
because if it's generational, we see generations of persons going through this industry. So someone who might be a room attendant, her mom or her cousin or her daughter may be, and they get it. And they get it. Persons who believe that are just persons who I think are outside on the bubble. What we are challenged with, that every other industry is challenged with, at our last BHTA meeting last month, is succession planning. The challenge is who's going to take this industry into the 21st century. And so that's our biggest challenge in changing the minds and the myths. Because I was having a meeting and we were sitting down with the tourism boards talking about human capital development and training. And like, I'm the baby and I'm 52. And so I'm telling you, so I'm, we have to figure out who was next. Because when I came in this industry, it was George Myers and Vincent Vanderpool Wallace and Dawn Cook and Sandy Sands and all the people that are my heroes then and now. But the issue is now who's going to transition this industry to the new level? Because this tourism industry is different from my father's tourism industry. We're in a global war now. Okay, so this is very different, and the skill sets and the marketing and the connectivity and the technology is very different. So us changing the minds and the culture and the mindset is going to be based on our ability to transition this industry to the next generation. I think that's important. But only the next generation, because of how they've grown up, I think is going to change that. Because what I see in the new or the younger persons coming in, I don't see that mindset of people looking at it as servitude. I see that in older generations.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it would be reversed.
No.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I don't see that because, I mean, we obviously hire, during certain periods. I don't see that. See, I came out a traditional business environment. In sense, I went to St. Anne's, and when you go to St. Anne's, you do accounts, and when you do accounts, and then maybe you become a lawyer or something, and blah 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 blah. I took a beeline into something totally different, which was tourism, and tourism was looked upon differently because people looked at tourists as room attendants and front desk people. But I worked at Atlantis and I worked at Sandals, and tourism is very diverse. So what we're seeing coming into our markets now are lawyers and doctors, because that's what we need. We need chemists. We need physicists to take care of sea lions. Okay, right. We need engineers. We need psychologists. We need physicists. It is so diverse now. We need legal people. So this industry is so diverse. I think it's attracting some of the best. We haven't made it yet. There's still this thing where people look down on tourism, but tourism is going to be here for a while. And I think long after some of the other segments of our economy contract, we in some cases are going to be forced to take a different look at service in tourism.
I accept your point. I do think about those individuals who they aren't really focused on tourism because it's not a passion of theirs. It's sort of a career of last resort. So it's just a job. And so you end up with a group of folks who just view it as such, and they don't give the best service no matter what training you put into them, what effort you put into those individuals. It's just very difficult to get them to understand that they ought to give great service to the customer, and as a result, your customers suffer.
But here's a good or bad thing about tourism. You choose what side it is. Tourism is the industry that can absorb masses of people.
Yep.
You see, at the end of the day, if you want to be an engineer, you have to do your MEs and your PAs. If you want to be an accountant, you have to do either CA, CBAs. Tourism, and this is why it's growing like gangbusters across the world, it can absorb masses of people. So that's what's good about it, because when I came into the industry, you had kids 17 years old making $40,000 a year or $50,000 a year. So now it's difficult for this person when you go into this bank who went to school 100 years, and this person is bringing in, is depositing twice this. See, so that's what created this whole issue, you know. But now I think, from what I'm seeing, I'm seeing that regularized, because it's so diverse because of the Sandals and the Comfort Suites and the Atlantis, and there's so many different classifications of jobs that you need. People are taking a different look at it. And then you have the contraction of financial services and some of these other segments. So now these persons are being forced into tourism. So tourism kind of is a catch-all, and you could look at that positively or negatively, but it's going to be here for a while.
Yeah. I want to just switch gears a little bit. This, you're saying, is your last term in office. So what are some of the goals that you've set for yourself? Or have you set any goals, or have you accomplished it all? What shape or what condition you want to see, you want to leave the association in when you ride off into the sunset and turn your hand to other things?
But you know what? I got a chance to work with some really talented people. Frank Comito, who is now at CHTA, Vernice Walken, Nina Maynard, Dean, Carlton, Russell, Rui. I've worked with some really great people, and we have accomplished a lot of things. Obviously, VAT is big. We have this year we're gonna have the second segment of the True Bahamian Festival. That was a huge hit, and now the ministry has gotten on board. We have a junior hotelier program that was maybe 300, and we got it up to 1,500 kids, where we got people from the industry to go into schools and start to talk to kids in grade 4 through 7. That is also that is very that's something I'm very proud of.
To 1,500?
Oh yeah, it's growing, and we have some great people at the BHTA that kind of work very well with us. We have had some great relief efforts at the last hurricane and the previous hurricane, obviously working as part of the national effort. That's good. Our financial position is probably, I mean, while we're still broke, that hasn't changed, but is a more comfortable broke than we've changed the position through having golf tournaments and all the rest of that. I'm also proud of all the scholarships we've given. We've given away maybe $400,000 worth of scholarships in the last 5 years. So there's a lot of things that I'm very, very, very proud of that we did nationally, like VAT, and we were getting Get Up for NHI, and things we did for people, like with the scholarships and going into the schoolrooms and actually talking to the kids in grade 4 and just seeing their eyes light up there, because they still don't believe we're actually people, you know. So when you go in and you talk to this, you know, there's a lot. I have a lot of hope, unlike a lot of people, about the next generations. I see a lot of hope. These kids are sharp, they're switched on, and you know, they want to do something. So that is the stuff that's very, very important to me from a CHTA standpoint, because I've been involved in that. Now as the first vice president, I've had an opportunity to see 32 countries. So not just see it from a very myopic standpoint of the Bahamas, to see the entire Caribbean. Technically, I'm the person who's supposed to be the president or next or whatever. It depends on if I want to work with that. So it's great to go out there and advocate on behalf of the entire region, because the world sees the Caribbean really as a region. And so we're trying to move governments towards marketing the Caribbean as a region. And we're trying to move governments towards the reduction of taxes for travel, because those are the two next big issues there. If you want someone to come to your country, to your region, you have to reduce the cost of transportation. And that's a very complex problem that we didn't get to resolve. The only thing I wanted to resolve is I wanted to create a database. We started working on a database of all Bahamian students. so that when you have jobs in the industry or newsletters, you can just send blasts out to everybody wherever they are in the world. We've not gotten as far
Like
as far
college
as I wanted,
students.
like all college students. We should know where every college student is that was born here. And we should be flooding them with information, not just from tourism, but also from financial services and, creating hope, because there is a brain drain. That's taking place. But tourism and some of these other industries, we really need them. But right now, as far as I'm aware, we just have small pockets where we're able to actually communicate with these kids.
Yeah, that would actually be good.
Yeah, it would. We're flat out of time, Stuart Bo.
Well,
I
thank
told you
you.
the time goes really fast.
Thanks for
I want
having
to
me.
thank you. I know it was a last minute asking you to come on board, and I appreciate you
Well,
accommodating us.
Ed is an
He's
associate.
very persuasive.
Yes, he's very persuasive. And
He ain't threatened
but-
you, eh?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't.
So basically,
he didn't threaten
he
me,
owe you
but-
dinner then.
no.
Which one is it?
He didn't threaten me, but he did call to make sure I was here.
That's a good man. That's a good man. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tashina
Anytime.
and Kendrick. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Well, we'll see you all on what's today? Oh, I'm not going to be here because Monday is my birthday, so I'll be traveling forward on Saturday. But it's going to be Erica Wells will be here with Ed on Monday. So thank you guys, and we'll see you on Monday.